The Audi that I'm testing here today is a really important model for the brand. It is by far their best-selling model. And when I say best-selling, I mean best-selling by a lot. My name is Omar, and today I'm test driving two models, the 2021 Audi Q5 as well as the Q5 Sportback. Well, technically, I'm driving the Q5 Sportback and the faster version of the regular Q5, the SQ5. So yeah, the Q5 itself is the brand's best-selling model. In 2019, pre-COVID times, Audi sold a total of 67,516 Q5s. The second runner-up was the Audi Q7 with a total of 34,649 units sold. And that's a difference of around 32,800 models, which is absolutely insane. So when it came to updating the Audi Q5, Audi obviously had to be very careful. They didn't want to mess up the formula that's been working for years and jeopardize losing sales in a very, very competitive segment. And that's where the Q5 Sportback steps in. This is just a slopey roofline version of the Q5 and it looks really stylish. And of course, every German luxury brand has a slopey roofline version of their SUVs in their lineup. BMW has the X4, Mercedes-Benz has the GLC Coupe, and Audi now has the Q5 Sportback. The Q5 Sportback that I'm testing here is powered by a 4-cylinder turbo engine pumping out 261 horsepower. It'll do 0 to 60 in about 5.7 seconds. It's the mid-level Premium Plus trim, which I think is the engine and trim combination that most people will go for. But what if you want to be a little bit more luxurious and go a little bit faster? This is the Audi SQ5, the more fun side of the Q5. This is powered by a 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged engine pumping out 349 horsepower. It'll do 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, making it a full second quicker than the regular 4-cylinder Q5. Handling wise, this thing is pretty well balanced. I do wish the steering wheel was a little bit more, I guess, tighter in dynamic mode, but it's nothing that takes away from the overall experience. It's still very impressive on tight turns and it keeps itself pretty controlled. And even though this is meant to be the more aggressive side of the Q5, this is still a very comfortable daily driver. So how do the Q5 and the SQ5 stack up against the competition? This segment is packed with some very impressive options. Let's find out. Let me give you a quick tour, and then I'll give you my opinion on how this compares to the rest of the competition. Make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like. All right, let's do this. Now, since the SQ5 that I'm testing here is the top of the line Prestige trim with some extra options, that's the one we'll focus on when it comes to checking out the cool and interesting things about the new Q5 lineup. All right, so there's no doubt that Audi's lighting game is the best out there. For 2021, all Q5s come standard with LED headlamps and LED taillights. The Prestige trims get upgraded with matrix LED headlamps that do some pretty cool animations when you unlock it. They also do a cool animation when you lock it, and you also get sequential turn signals. Pretty cool, right? Well, the SQ5 takes it a step further with OLED technology taillights that allow Audi to create a range of different designs and signatures. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be able to switch the design with the push of a button. Depending on the market you live in, you basically have the option to pick one of 3 designs. And unfortunately, due to the regulations in the United States being ancient, we only get this one design right here. Nonetheless, Audi has built some safety functionality into these taillights, so say you're at a red light and the car behind you decides to get a little too close. If they get closer than 6.5 feet, all the OLEDs will turn on in full brightness, warning them to back off. Also, in other markets, when you pop your SQ5 into dynamic mode, the 3 OLED tiles in the back will switch up so the cars behind you will know that you're about to go crazy. But again, since the US isn't that crazy, we don't get that option here. Now, I really don't know what else can top those OLED taillights I just gave you a tour of, but let's check out some other cool and interesting things that I found. Now, it's not like we haven't seen heated or cup holders before, but the ones here on the Q5 actually really work. So only the passenger side cup holder is actually heated or cooled. You just push this button right here once to cool your drink down to a crisp 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Push it again and it will heat up to 128 degrees Fahrenheit. And to make sure you don't burn yourself, this red light right here will turn on once the cup holder tops 104 degrees. That's pretty dope. Next up, the Audi Virtual Cockpit. We're all pretty familiar with it by now. It's one of the best in the industry, and the full screen map view is what every Audi owner loves to show off in their cars. Now, you do have different viewing modes in the SQ5, including Sport, Sport Performance, and Dynamic. But check out the design of the tacks when you're in Dynamic. Looks like a pair of eyes or mean eyebrows. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing for the base Audi Q5, the regular one, starts at $43,300. If you want to go for the stylish Sportback, you'll have to pay $47,800. And then the SQ5 starts at $52,900. The SQ5 Sportback starts at $56,100. As tested here, the Q5 Sportback that I'm testing carries a price tag of $56,540. The SQ5 here carries a final price tag of $71,790. So yeah, the SQ5 can get pretty pricey once you get it fully loaded. Nonetheless, all Q5s come standard with a bunch of features, including heated front seats, a 10.1-inch touchscreen display for the MMI infotainment system, and that will also give you wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but if you want navigation, you'll have to pay extra. So really quick, this is the interior of the Audi Q5 Sportback. Pretty nice, but if you want to ball out and get a little fancy, you'll have to upgrade to the Prestige. That said, let's check out what makes my SQ5 Prestige model here cost around $72,000. Now, first up, just going for the Prestige will cost you an extra $9,600, but it will add on a lot, including this awesome Bang & Olufsen sound system, the awesome Audi Virtual Cockpit digital gauge cluster display. You'll get navigation as standard with the MMI infotainment system. You also get adaptive cruise control, active lane assist, a surround view camera, a heads-up display, LED ambient lighting all over this cabin, which looks really nice. You also get heated and cooled cup holders that I showed you earlier, a heated steering wheel, heated rear seats. Now on the outside, the Prestige trim will give you the upgraded Matrix LED headlamps and a panoramic sunroof, which should honestly just be standard across the lineup. My test model also has the S Sport package for $3,000, and that gives you a Sport adaptive air suspension with a Sport rear differential. It also gives you these cool red brake calipers, and my test model also has the upgraded 21-inch wheels for an extra $1,000. I also have the black optics package for $600, and that will black out a lot of the trim that you see on the outside. Now get this, I was messing around with Audi's builder on their website. If you go for the Prestige on the regular Q5, you get cooled seats as standard. On the SQ5 Prestige, however, they are optional. But also, my test model here has these really nice Napa leather quilted seats for an extra $1,000. And that means if I want cooled seats, I can't have these Napa leather seats. I just have to stick with the regular seats and add on the warm weather package to get the cool seats, which is kind of weird to be honest. But yeah, beyond that, there are a few other options that make my test model cost as much as it does, like the carbon fiber trim in here costs an extra $500, and this awesome Distic green metallic paint job will cost you an extra $595, which I actually kind of dig. So let's talk horsepower and torque. Power for the SQ5 comes from a 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged engine pumping out 349 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, and that's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The Q5 Sportback that I'm testing here is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine pumping out 261 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and that's mated to a 7-speed automatic. Now 0 to 60 for the SQ5 comes in at 4.7 seconds, while the regular Q5 Sportback that I'm testing here will take a full second longer at 5.7 seconds. Now, what about fuel economy? The SQ5 here will get 18 city and 24 highway. After a couple days of driving, aggressive driving, and some idling, I'm averaging about 12.6 miles a gallon. So if fuel economy happens to be your concern, you might want to go for the 4-cylinder turbo Q5 or Q5 Sportback, and those will get 23 city and 28 highway. All Q5s have a fuel tank capacity of 18.5 gallons. Let's talk about the exterior design, because as you can see, not much has changed at all. Audi seems to be very particular when it comes to the Q5, since it is their best-selling model. They seem to be very careful by not making strong departures from what's working for them already, although I would have liked to see some more changes here. Not to mention the Q5 is still in the 2nd generation, so this is more of a mid-cycle refresh than a new generation model, so it only gets very minor updates compared to the outgoing model years. But to keep things exciting for the Q5 and to offer Q5 shoppers some more excitement, the Q5 Sportback joins the lineup with a sloping roofline, and I have to say it looks really awesome. Personally, I think the Q5 Sportback is one of the better looking options when it comes to slopey roofline SUVs as compared to the BMW X4 and the Mercedes-Benz GLC Coupe. To be honest, none of the luxury SUVs in this segment are extremely daring when it comes to exterior design, well, besides the Acura RDX, so if you want something different, that's an option. Now, before we hop inside and check out the interior, let's talk cargo capacity. Does going for the Q5 Sportback over the regular Q5 kill your cargo capacity? Of course it does, but not by a lot. The regular Q5 will give you 26 cubic feet behind the second row and 54 cubic feet with the second row folded. The Q5 Sportback will give you 25 cubic feet behind the second row and 52 cubic feet with the second row folded. Let's hop inside, and just like the outside, not much has changed since the second generation made its debut in 2017. Everything is pretty much in the same area that it used to be. Quality-wise, it's everything that you would expect from Audi. There's a solid use of high-quality materials throughout this cabin. So yeah, the biggest upgrade is obviously the revamped MMI infotainment system housed in this 10.1-inch touchscreen display. Of course, the SQ5 Prestige that I'm testing here feels a little bit more upgraded. You have some leatherette around the center console, and you also have some leatherette on the door armrests. And again, my test model also looks pretty boss with these Napa leather seats for an extra $1,000, but again, you don't get cool seats if you get these. The Audi Q5 Sportback that I'm testing here is a Premium Plus, and that actually looks pretty nice as well, but I will say there is a little bit more excitement when it comes to the competitors of the Q5. In my opinion, Audi's interiors focus more on technology, really high quality materials, and a very clean and simple design. As for second row legroom, you have 38 inches back here. I'm about 6 foot tall. That is my seating position. I sit further back than the normal human being should. And as you can see, I still have okay legroom. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. Now, before I give you my opinion on how the Q5 and SQ5 stack up against the competition, let me point out a few random things that I'll have to show all of you. You have 4 cup holders, 2 in the front for the front passengers, obviously, and 2 in the back for the rear passengers. They're kind of small, kind of tight. That's a medium-sized Dunkin' Donuts drink, and it's barely fitting in there. Here are what the keys look like to the new Q5. Nothing too fancy, no remote start, just lock, unlock, and the trunk and the panic button. The SQ5 gets a little S badge in the back. Door open and close sound from the outside and from the inside. Pretty solid indeed. Now, depending on the trim of the Q5 you go for, you do get a wireless charger, and it's hidden right here. You put your phone in there, slide it back so it's out of the way to reveal the cup holders. Cool placement. And for wired charging, you have a USB-A port right there. And then if you slide the wireless charger forward, you have a USB-C port right over there. And then rear passengers have 2 USB-A ports right there. And now for a quick indicator and horn sound test here with the 2021 Audi SQ5. Indicator first. Definitely pretty Audi-ish. Now for the horn sound. Pretty solid. All right, if we're just talking about the regular Q5, I think it looks better than the BMW X3 and the Mercedes-Benz GLC. In terms of the Q5 Sportback, I think it looks better than the X4, but it's kind of a tie for me when it comes to the GLC Coupe. Pricing-wise, the Q5s are actually cheaper than the BMW X3 and X4 and the GLCs by about $2,000. All have pretty similar driving dynamics, so nothing really sets one apart more than the other. I think it really comes down to brand preference when you're shopping in this trim level. As for the SQ5 and the GLC 43 are both very similar when it comes to performance. Both will do 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. The BMW X3 and X4 M40i are a little bit quicker. They'll do it in 4.4 seconds and actually handle a little bit better than the other two. But when it comes to pricing, there's no doubt that the SQ5 offers more value at a lower cost. The SQ5 starts right under $53,000, while the BMW X3 M40i comes in next with a starting price tag of $56,600. The GLC 43 is the most expensive with a starting price tag of right under $60,000 at $59,900. The same goes for the SQ5 Sportback. That starts at $56,100, while the X4 M40i starts at $61,700 and the GLC 43 Coupe starts at $64,900. So yeah, if I was in the market for a performance compact SUV, the SQ5 would be a very compelling option. Well, the SQ5 Sportback to be specific. Honestly, all we really need now is an RS Q5 to go head-to-head with the X3 and X4M and the GLC 63S, but who knows when that's going to happen. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Peace. And it sounds pretty good too. Not bad.